Welcome to the Squad Games podcast.
Hey.
Today, we're going to be talking about LVO, the largest kill team event in the world.
Yes.
And in fact, it's not only the largest kill team event, it's also the largest 40K event and AOS event.
Ooh.
Yeah. And we're going to tell you why you should go.
Yeah.
Firstly, what everyone should know is that we're halfway sold out, and we're still, 3 months out?
Yep. January.
Which we're still hitting record paces. I think we have 166 players total that are allowed to go this year, and I think we're sitting just about 80, 82. I guess it's just under half. But
Just under half.
yeah,
Basically there.
I mean, if you think about it, we've already sold more tickets than went to Nova this year.
I mean, it helps. It's a big tournament,
Yeah.
so
I think Nova sold like 88 tickets, but only 66 players showed up.
which is still pretty good. It's
Yeah.
not bad. Not bad.
But I think
There's always attrition.
Yeah, I think
Happens.
for kill team wise, the largest event so far I think has been outside of LVO last year, which had 131 players. It was Tacoma, and I think Tacoma had 80 or 90.
Wow, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good on them.
Well, today we have Sheldon, Sheldon or Kill Team Stream, as a lot of people may know him. And in fact, you ran LVO or were a main part of LVO for quite some time now, Sheldon. Do you want to tell everyone who you are?
Yeah, my name's Sheldon. I have been a part of the Kill Team community since the start of 2018 edition. I was in the first LVO Kill Team tournament as a contestant, and then helped with the second one, and went to run the third one. And then COVID happened, and then passed it along to my good friend here, Dakota, and Giacomo, who have taken the Las Vegas Open to new heights, and I come and help as the hosting the stream.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
Moral support.
Yeah.
So Sheldon, actually, how did you end up getting to run LVO? I don't think I know the story.
Yeah, so I went to the first LVO Kill Team tournament, and a big part of the reason why I went there was because I went on the Best Coast Pairings app, and it was the only Kill Team tournament on the app, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to go to Vegas to play this game, so let's do that. So I took my stepbrother, and we drove to Vegas and had a great time, and I saw them streaming the top tables on a small little Logitech webcam.
Okay, cool.
And said I could do that way better. Maybe I'll get into streaming, and then they'll hire me to do the streaming for these kind of events. And so I came home, and my ambitions were much bigger than the game was at the time. And I proceeded to buy way too many of what at the time was the competitive standard, the arena box.
Nice.
Which was like the Kill Team competitive, quote unquote, standard at the time. And I ran a local tournament and had way too many tables for how many people showed up. And
That's the dark
then
days of
Nova.
Kill Team.
Yeah, and then Nova reached out to me, the guys who ran Nova, and they were looking for terrain for the Kill Team tournament there, and I realized, I had kind of at the time, the largest collection of painted arena terrain in the world, and then ended up also helping Alex run the Bay Area Open here locally, which was also with Frontline Gaming, and he used my terrain. And then I saw that there was this SoCal Open, and I asked Alex, is he planning on running that? And he said he wasn't. So I stepped up and ran that, and Alex luckily was able to come, and we were able to kind of work on that together. He did the streaming shoutcasting, but I set up all the stream and everything. And then he was really impressed with my setup. So he asked if I could come and stream at LVO that year. So I did. And that was the year I met Dakota. We played on, I believe at the time was the top table, round 2 or 3. My Corn.
He ran 17 bloodletters into my Eldar.
Corn bloodletters into his Eldar.
Yeah, it was quite scary.
That's unthinkable now.
It was quite scary. It was. I'm not gonna lie. I was terrified.
Back when points existed.
Uh-huh.
Oh god.
But the Eldar
And I
came out
remember
on top on that one.
Dakota had a big cast, and he was coming up to me and he was saying, "Hey, I heard you like Arena. I'm making a 3D Arena set." And I was like, "Yeah, that's nice, bud. Cool." And then I joined the Flyby Nights Discord, and Dakota was showing progress pics of his 3D Arena board, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually really, really cool. Can I buy one of those?"
It's funny. It's the one right on the wall back there.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
the one that lights up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I hit up Dakota, and I was like, "Hey, do you think Frontline Gaming stopped being able to make these little barricade things, which are kind of integral to the terrain?"
That and the containers.
Yeah. And I was like, "Do you think you might be able to make those? Because I heard you have an MDF laser cutter." And you said, "Yeah." So I ordered like a ridiculously stupid large amount from you, and then we ended up doing the terrain at LVO that year with a big portion your terrain.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year I was like, well, let's just keep expanding on this. And you worked with me to get even more terrain and develop the layout. And we got some pretty cool terrain for the next LVO. The problem was it was right after the edition had changed, and all of a sudden all that terrain wasn't as
good
conducive
anymore. It's much similar to this edition, which we'll get into later in this episode about anyone who's come to LVO before, how much work we actually have to change and how much work we have to actually put into this upcoming LVO. But go ahead, Sheldon.
Yeah, and then at the time I was running Kill Team Open, and I was on podcast, the Killzone podcast with Beernid and Emmanuel, and everything got a little bit too much, and I had to kind of step back from it because it was just kind of getting a little bit too stressful, and things were changing in my personal life I had to kind of address. And so I asked Dakota if he'd be able to step up and take over the tournaments, and yeah, the rest is history. Squad Games was formed, and you guys have been killing it ever since. And I'm glad to help out anytime you guys need help.
Well, we always appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Like, last year it was wonderful to get so many people to help us out, including you,
Yeah, that's one thing that's always been difficult. I believe last year, if you listen to last year's LVO podcast, we had a guy named Elliot on, who Elliot has always been helping with. In fact, I believe Elliot was there before Sheldon at LVO, helping.
Elliot ran the very, very first Kill Team tournament at Las Vegas Open, and that was because Reese, who at the time was running Frontline,
Reese is one of the
LVO,
founding fathers of Frontline Gaming.
Yeah, he saw Elliot when he won the very first Kill Team tournament at Nova Open in 2018 with what is now colloquially termed the Plasma Spam List. He invented that, and so Reese asked him if he could run a Kill Team tournament at Las Vegas Open, and yeah, he helped out, but he was never really big at like being the mastermind behind everything. So he loves to come and help, and he's great at like getting whatever you need done. You hand him a task, and he's like, "Let's do it," and he goes full. I remember when we had to build all the terrain. Him, me, and Alex all showed up 2 days before LVO and built and painted all of the terrain in the Frontline Gaming studio.
When you walked into the hall, it all smelled like spray paint.
Oh, for real?
It was wild.
Oh, that was when you guys were at...
that was the first time I met
at the Bally's, right?
Bally's.
At the Bally's,
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so LVO has a really big history, right? I believe they started running Kill Team in 2018, and obviously, I think the year of 2021 was skipped because of COVID, right?
Yep.
Which I think they allowed everyone to keep their tickets for the next year.
Yes.
Right. But typically, it has been one of, if not the biggest event for Kill Team every single year. Right.
Yep.
I remember when I was first getting into it, getting into this edition, we saw Las Vegas. My wife was like, you either need to start playing with your miniatures, you need to stop collecting them, or you need to stop collecting them. Right. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to play. So we're going to sign up you and me because there's no way I'm going to stop collecting miniatures. Right. And so that's when we met Sheldon, and the rest is pretty much history. I think Sheldon was the initial investor into Lester's Workshop before we had a lot of the disasters and stuff like that, which kind of shut down the shop for quite an extended period of time now.
Yep.
But getting into Las Vegas Open and this year, what to expect, right? Last year, there's a couple things that we have to remember as tournament organizers is that it is practically impossible to run a just pure Games Workshop plastic tournament unless if Games Workshop is supplying all of the plastic.
Right.
Right?
Which is rare.
Yeah. Well, they do it for Nova, and I think they have a big enough stock to probably do LVO or at least get close.
Right.
But we have tons and tons of stuff now anyways, right?
I can tell you from experience. I ran that first SoCal Open with all GW terrain, and it cost about, I think, like $30,000.
Yeah,
But I have all that terrain now. It's cool.
It gets ridiculous, and then Games Workshop just nullified it, and nullified pretty much your entire investment, which is not something that we are willing to,
right?
Nor something that we could absorb,
Right.
Yeah.
That's tough.
In fact, Sheldon, I know that was quite hard for you to absorb as well because.
Yep.
Anytime an edition changes, we all have to be aware that things are going to change. Like, for instance, the new Kill Team or the new 40K, all of Frontline Gaming's terrain that they've used for the past, I don't know, 8 to 10 years
is changed.
Is not good anymore.
Right. You can't use those ones, not in the same way.
Yeah. So essentially, they have to kind of decide whether they're going to switch to the new format and stay relevant and make new stuff. Right. Or are they going to stick around
and just be kind of stagnant with their old stuff?
And unfortunately, last year they used some of their old stuff in player place terrain, and it's not super great anymore. So something that we've done here at Squad Games and at LVO, which was, I think that it showed quite a marked something big, is that we believe in a lot of competitive integrity and community built and driven maps. So we kind of start designing the maps. We get a lot of community feedback from high level players, but also normal players of all different levels of skill, right? And we run them usually at tournaments throughout the entire year so that at our events, they are the best maps that exist, right? Unfortunately, Games Workshop doesn't always see things the way that we want to see things. Like, for instance, was it last year or the year before? The year before, our first year we ever ran LVO. We built these maps, we built everything, we tested things for 8 months. Okay, then we ran an 87-person tournament, which was the largest in the world. But a month beforehand, they dropped something called approved ops. And anyone who plays Kill Team competitively should know what approved ops is. It's the
I think at the
competitive
time
leaderboard.
it was the crit ops.
The crit ops, right, or something. But essentially, yes, it was that, the tournament packet.
So we had to drop everything and redesign everything. So we had very little testing, but we had a lot of experience about what's good and what's not good.
Exactly.
And then we were able to build that on the next year, and everyone really enjoyed. And we had like a 75% retain rate. 75% of the players came back the next year and really enjoyed it. And we had 131 players in total last year. And we ran a very interesting format, which we'll get into the format for LVO now. The format is 3 days. So it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. We start around 9 or 10 o'clock in the
Usually
morning.
right around 9:30, 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're done by 5. So if you want to go out and see Britney Spears, if you want to go out and you want to see
The
Siegfried
Blue Man's,
and,
I don't know, whoever.
yeah, the Blue Man Group,
Who's the
whatever.
magicians that are out there? Penn and
Penn and
Teller.
Teller, Penn and
Penn and Teller.
Yeah, Penn and Teller.
Yeah, you can go
And
out,
they're at the Rio.
yeah, you can go
Oh.
out and do that if you want to go do adult activities or go drinking or go gambling. You know.
Or our tradition of going to the Gordon Ramsay burger.
Hell yeah. we
Hell
go to
yeah.
Gordon Ramsay every year.
Oh,
So that's relatively kind of the format, but there's an additional wrinkle, an additional layer that we have to that. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 rounds each. But there is, we split the entire play group into 2 pods. There's a narrative group, which is a part of the tournament, but they all get dropped so that they are no longer a part of the tournament at a certain time, so they can never score above, they can never do well at the event. But they are a part of the overall process. We have groups A and group B. We split those 2 groups into, we do a seeding format into those groups. So we look at the ITC rating of every single player that comes at a specific time in December. We take those players and we split them into 2 different groups. So let's say if number 1 ITC was here, we would also have ITC number 2. ITC 1 would go into group A. ITC number 2 would go into group B. 3 would go into A, 4 would go into B, so on and so forth. And we do that specifically manually. From there, Group A would play all of Open on day 1, all Into the Dark on day 2, and day 3 they could play on anything.
all Beta Decima.
Oh,
Just kidding.
And then Group B would start on all Into the Dark day 1, all Open day 2, and then swap back and forth. And then day 3, both groups are combined and into this major format, and BCP, Best Coast Pairings, helps us with that pairing process. On the 3rd day, they combine both
Go
of the
Casey.
groups. Go Casey. Thank you, Casey. And that is what makes the format so great at LVO. You're guaranteed at least 3 rounds for each one, and then day 3 is just open to whatever happens, right? There's always a top 8 prizes. So LVO used to be top 8 cut. We got rid of top 8 cut for in favor of just a pure Swiss event. So
Which I think is better.
yeah. So you don't ever have to
Honestly.
worry about doing well day 1, doing well day 2, and then everyone kind of like, oh, I just paid so much
Right,
money
and I'm
just to
out.
play 2 days of Kill Team or
Right.
whatever it is. Now you get to come and you get to play every day, and every single game matters because I think we saw such a huge retention. We had nearly 100 players stay the entirety, all 9 rounds
that's
last year.
huge.
Yeah. That means only like 30 people dropped throughout the entire event due to whatever may be the case. And that was something truly awesome,
Right.
right? And this year, I think we sold 164 tickets last year. We only have 166 because we're getting a different area in
The Rio.
the Rio.
Yeah, we're not in that same Berselli Hall. What was it called? I can never remember the name.
We're not in that hall anymore.
Yeah.
They're putting the
Brescio.
vendors in there because there's going to be so many vendors this
Right.
year. So they have enough space for 166. So if you buy a ticket, please come. But also, you should get your tickets now because Frontline Gaming is going to start snipping events, right? And we got to make sure that LVO is the largest and always remains the largest. Because it gives.
that's-
Go ahead.
That's a
Sam.
pro tip for anybody. If you're going to a large event, always get your tickets early because a lot of these events base how much space different games will get based on how many tickets they have at certain milestones. And if you wait until the last minute, there's always the chance you're probably not going to get a ticket anyways because they'll be sold out. But in addition, it also hurts the organizers because it's harder to plan for things like how much train they're going to need, how much space they're going to be allowed, at the event, that sort of thing. So I definitely think to all the listeners, you gotta buy those tickets early. If you think you're going to be able to come, just buy the ticket. And then if you can't, there's probably someone in the community once those tickets sold out, that will probably want to buy it. So I mean, it's a good investment either way.
Yeah. So I think they cut off tickets sometime mid-December. So that's like the last time just to buy tickets. And we've sold out pretty much 2 years in a row.
Yep.
So I don't see why we wouldn't sell out again, especially with Kill Team growing, the new edition growing. But something else I want to talk about is our philosophy of why we've been so successful. And that is because of the community-driven maps, because we typically try to look at the game from a third-party lens, and we try to figure out what terrain and what is the best way to play this game. And then we get a lot of community feedback, and we try to go with that. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time between now and LVO this year. So we're going to be playing mostly Volcus, but we won't be running the Games Workshop maps. I think there's some innate problems with some of the maps. I think the Games Workshop's head design for the maps was more along the lines of you put the objectives in each stronghold, and each player has to assault the strongholds because the strongholds are typically where the players are going to be. Right? Or like that. That's kind of like the philosophy that they were going with. And the Into the Dark maps, I'm sorry, Games Workshop doesn't really know how to build good Into the Dark maps. In my opinion, they're all way too shooty or way too bad. Next week, join us here on the Squad Games podcast where we reveal all of our maps, and we're going to attempt even to fix Beta Decima for good.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to try.
That's big.
We're going to try. But there's a low-key thing. It uses
Doesn't need fixing. Hot take.
It uses very little actual Beta Decima terrain.
Yeah, there's nowhere in the rules that require you have to use gantries only.
Yeah, exactly. But that's besides it. But this year we've redesigned all of our terrain. We've been building terrain nonstop. In fact, I believe my birthday, where I'm just going to have a bunch of people come over. I'm going to make cake and hot dogs for people.
Hooray.
And they're just going to assemble terrain all day. It's going to be a terrain
MDF.
building bash.
Wow.
Right. In fact, my wife got me this chair, which is a beautiful Lord of the Rings chair.
Ooh,
Ben,
nice.
looking at you, my guy, Battle Brothers Ben, amazing, and it says "My Precious" over here, but that's besides the point. That's in late November, but so. I believe like a lot of the layouts from Games Workshop for Volcus are actually pretty good. I just think the objective markers are in non-great places. But we're going to do some more testing. We still have to learn more on Beta Decima. We're both very familiar with Into the Dark. So I've already started creating brand new asymmetrical Into the Darks that have been quite popular so far. And we're going to get a lot of community feedback. If you guys are interested in giving us your feedback on our own maps, please join our Discord and let us know how much you hate them, or jump into the comments and let us know how much you like them or how much you dislike them. And we'll take all that critical feedback, because I have enough neurodivergence where I don't really take criticism too poorly. Only on Tuesdays does it affect me.
And you're listening to this on what day?
Tuesday.
You know, I always think that with layouts and that sort of thing, I don't necessarily think that building the best layout is like the only thing. I think what's important is that players have access to the layouts.
Yes.
Ahead of time, because I think that even a bad layout, it just presents a new challenge, and as long as you're prepared for that challenge ahead of time and you've got a strategy to tackle it, I think that it is competitive in its own way.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that's interesting is that we try to get you will have access to the brand new 3rd edition map pack sometime in November, and then there will be a finalized one for LVO. Sometime in December, and we won't really mess with it unless if Games Workshop comes out with something crazy.
Right.
And we'll kind of go from there, which I don't think is going to happen, but you never know.
You never know.
You never know with Games Workshop, right?
They love to release FAQs the day before big events.
Yeah, or teams. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Our rule is still usually 2 weeks as
2
long as the
weeks.
rules have been out, right?
Correct. FAQs can vary, especially if it fixes things in the game. We can do up to a week, sometimes even later. But typically, any kind of balanced data slate or any kind of brand new teams have to be 2 weeks because we do require factions to be locked 2 weeks out in advance.
Right.
Not let rosters because they don't really exist anymore unless you're playing Angels of Death or some new team. You know, maybe a new team is going to require a roster.
Hot take: I don't think Angels of Death should even have a roster.
I don't think so either.
I totally agree. And I was talking to somebody, just as a quick tangent, and I think Angels of Death would be S tier if they didn't have to just only select 2 chapter tactics, and that was kind of it.
I don't think I'd say they're S tier.
I don't think it would.
Because
I don't think that would
Legionary
put them to
exists.
S
They
tier.
do, but when you can personalize each thing every game, I haven't lost a single Angels of Death game when I've played, because I can always personalize exactly what my opponent is like.
Yeah, but have you fought into Legionaries?
I haven't, so one day we'll have to figure out what that is. Anyways, back to LBO.
But yeah, so I think that terrain and having access to the packet is very important. Also, everything is very upfront so that you know exactly what you're getting. We're playing Swiss. We're going to play total VP. Ties exist, right? There's no weird metric that's you're going to have a gotcha and be like, oh, like for instance, there's a couple events this past weekend, one of which was like, oh, there's a total opponent victory primaries that doesn't exist in it doesn't exist in BCP. So when they calculated it wrong, and then they gave out the wrong pricing to players. Ooh. Right? So like third place was not actually third place. Third place got fourth, and fourth got third. So like there are like anything that you see is going to be upfront on BCP. We're not going to be using strength of schedule or opponent win percentage or any of that kind of stuff because those can be feels bad, especially at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
When you're like, oh, I played a guy and then he just lost every other round, so now my opponent win percentage is just like is not good.
Right.
Because they decided that they're in Vegas and they wanted to get drunk the entire time, which has happened.
Yeah,
which is
it's
not
your
a bad thing.
prerogative. Go ahead.
Yeah, they got beer
I
buckets.
think that's what
Yeah.
you should be doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should be.
When you're in Vegas.
We just drink.
Because that's a good thing, Sheldon. We should remember that Las Vegas Open, there can only be one winner, right? We have to remember going into tournaments, right, in order not to have a mental boom.
Right. What's
you
your
know?
expectations?
Yeah, set your expectations that you're just not gonna. You're always gonna score 4 tac ops every game.
Easy. That's awesome. You don't even have to win. You just got to score the 4.
Yeah, go
My
in with that.
expectation is every single one of James Kelly's kids will beat me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's not difficult.
Those
They're
kids
real
are
good.
pretty good.
They're pretty good.
Zeke especially has really been getting good.
Yeah. So those are really important things that I find have led to the success of the Las Vegas Open since we've really taken over. Was kind of like unique, special terrain, really competitive, and it's an international event. We have people. We have John Reese and Europeans, French people. We might even have the Spaniards come over this
Bonjour.
year.
Oh.
The Spaniards are going to have to come if they want to maintain
Hola.
number one in ITC.
I think South America is also kind of growing.
Yeah, South America,
Central and South is growing. So.
Canada had like 8 or
Canada's
9
huge,
people last year.
surprisingly.
Right?
Yeah. They brought their whole team.
They did.
Yeah, they had the jerseys. Those are
That
pretty dope
upset
jerseys.
last year with Adrian, I think is going to incentivize a few people from Spain to maybe show up.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
You gotta hold on to that title.
I think Adrian came last year. Adrian Bonavento, if no one knows who he is, played Commandos and won the entire event by 0.5 tournament points. I think he only had a tie, and he didn't lose a game. And he took the whole thing, and then he took like 240
Yeah, it was-
something ITC points, and we only had 131 players, right? So it's a massive event, but it's also massive because it is the final place where you can score hobby track for this
Yeah.
season. And they have the final day awards for what is it called? They have the ITC ceremony.
Yeah.
On
so
Sunday.
if you're on that top, 5 ITC right now, if you look on there and you see your name, you should be at this event because, you're probably going to be winning an award there. And if you're not there, it's going to be really like awkward.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to be sitting there like, come up and
I think
you stand here.
I think the ITC award is that they give you a trophy, and then they also give you they send you all of the Kill Team releases for the entire year for free.
Yeah, for the top person in
For the top
ITC
person, yeah.
gets that.
And I believe Hobby Track as well, but don't quote me because I'm not Games Workshop. I don't know.
Didn't they also do a free entry to a tournament? I don't know. Is that still a thing or no?
I believe you probably get a golden ticket.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I don't know.
If you win ITC, I believe you get a golden ticket. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and you also that don't quote us on that. I'm not
100% on that. Yeah. So.
But I also know that like Adrian got to play the edition on stream
Yep.
against Alexa, who won Worlds
Right.
at Nova. Right.
That's cool.
So like Games Workshop was like, "Yo, we're gonna have you come over to here." And they flew out Alexa, right? They're like, "Yo, my guy, come on!" And those two fought with the brand new edition. So there's obviously other benefits to winning ITC and winning Worlds, right?
Yeah.
So those are some big things. Now there's some other benefits to coming to LVO outside of ITC points and Hobby Track points. And the number one thing is that you get to meet a lot of brand new friends. I can't tell you how many people just come back to LVO.
Number one thing is you get to see Giacomo and hug him.
Thank you.
Yeah. You get to see people that you haven't seen all year long, because typically a lot of people that go to LVO come back every single year, right? Or I would say the majority, right? And then you get to see a friendly face once a year. And if you don't know any friendly faces, you're going to meet them, because there's a lot of really good dudes, a lot of good chicks, a lot of good people.
This guy and that guy are here.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, to be 100% honest, if it wasn't for the community, I probably wouldn't have kept playing the game. But the community is like truly like just all full of incredible people.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
guys
like
rock.
it's wild how many great friends I've made playing this game. And so, you know, I mean, sunk cost fallacy, I can never leave anyways because I have like too much money wrapped up in this game. But the truth of the matter is, you know, all these friends that we've made along the way it has really like been special. And wouldn't change it for the world.
You get to meet, I think, every single like major podcaster was at LVO this year.
Yeah, all the creators were there. We did all the big ones.
We had Battle Brothers Ben. We had
Cyrac.
Travis and Jason.
Oh, Travis and Jason.
Cyrac. There was us. Cascadia
One day
was there
we'll get
before
Cameron
Cascadia
It was a thing.
Cascadia.
They were
Yeah, Vox Cascadia.
Did we get Six-Sided Legion came out?
Six-Sided Legion came out.
We didn't get
Shane
Mountain
keeps
Side
saying
tables,
he'll
though.
come out.
They didn't come out.
Who?
But
Shane?
I said command point. Shane keeps saying he'll come out.
I think
but-
Shane is actually coming this year. He didn't come last year, but I believe he said that he is interested in coming this year. So I'm trying to do anything
Heck
and
yeah.
everything in my power to make sure Shane and hopefully Ryan as well.
Absolutely. They're great guys.
Yeah.
So it's not only a great event for that, but if you like watching Kill Team content, right, you'll be able to see a lot of big creators. Glass Half Dead has come to this multiple times. I don't know if he'll come this year. You have Kill Team Stream. You have, who else? There's tons of creators, ton of competitive players who you hear on podcasts. You see them on streams. So there's just like there's no downside outside of spending money.
And you're in Vegas.
Yeah, you're in Vegas.
I mean, there's even like general 40K and hobby celebrities that are just walking around the convention as
Yeah,
well.
Bricky goes there
I
a
got
lot.
interviewed for 45 minutes by Duncan Rhodes last year. Was it last year or the year before?
That was the year before
The year
because our
before.
table was moved to this.
He
other side.
liked our terrain so much that I nerded out and we just sat there. They gave me a mic. I ignored everyone on the floor and I was like, "Gee, you take care of it. I'm talking to Duncan Rhodes, you know?" And it was great. And
Good times.
yeah, Giacomo knows.
Yep.
Yeah. Some other good.
Too thin interview question.
That's good.
Yeah. So some other great things for LVO this year. We've always done a raffle, right, at LVO. Vegas raffles are legal. So we usually do token sets, terrain sets, You know, and then you come, you get raffle tickets. You know, you can always spend more money in the shop and get more raffle tickets, and people walk home with all kinds of. We have guessing games typically. This year, me and Giacomo are going to be painting an Angels of Death Black Templar team because we have something really cool. I don't know. We've told some people, but it's going to be LVO this year is going to be blacked out.
Blacked out.
So everything that we do is going to be black, right? So we have our shirts are going to be black. They might be black on black. They're going to have the Squad Games Marine on them. We're going to have hats. Right now we're getting the hats made, the samples made. They might be black on black. They might be black and white. We have to see.
Which one we like the most?
Yeah.
Black and gray.
Black and gray. So, but everything's going to have some sort of element. We're going to have hopefully brand new mats. So an Into the Dark mat, maybe a Beta Decima mat, a few other things that is created by us here at Squad Games.
And if you don't know, Squad Games, aka these two guys right here, make the coolest mats in the hobby. And I'm not saying that like as a fanboy. I'm saying that as an avid purchaser of mats. And I have a lot of mat. I'm telling you, I'm not saying this as just like an advertisement. I'm saying this as like legitimate hobby knowledge. If you want to get the best kill team mat, that's this LVO is the place to buy one. You will not regret it.
Yeah, the mats, we try to make sure that they are great for kill team. Anything that we do, we want to make sure is good for kill team, right? Like we know the game, so we make things for the game by people who love the game.
Exactly.
So we have deployment zones marked out. We have
the center control
in there. We have
center line and
center
all that
lines. In fact, I'll do a sneak peek of one of our new Into the Dark mats layouts, and the mat is also there, so you'll see here. Oops. See if we can move this. There we go. So this will be our Into the Dark mat, and this is going to be one of our layouts that will be debuting next week on the podcast. If you are part of our Patreon, you get early access to these mats, our maps when they come out. But yeah, so there's going to be some interesting things. As you can tell, we do have some narrative terrain in this, specifically because, why not? And also, I think it's typically good for the game. I don't know why you have to spend an APL to open a door and get taxed. No one likes taxes.
That's a lot.
People don't like taxes. We all know that, right?
True.
It's the reason why we left Britain.
Yes, I made our own taxes here. Wait.
I think, yeah, we have taxes.
I'm going to throw an entire barrel of tea into the Las Vegas.
Let's drink coffee.
But typically our maps are a little bit more cell shaded style, animated style, so they are very different from what you may find anywhere else with the 3D rendering and digital maps that other content or other creators make. Frontline Gaming, Game Mats EU, stuff like that. But talking about black on black, we do have like token set that's going to be coming out if we can get it in focus.
There you go.
LVO 2025, all black token set. All the tokens inside are matte black or gloss black, and everything else is matte black, the entire tray.
Very cool set.
Yeah. We also have, if you don't want those, we also have these, which is our typical sets that we've been selling for the brand new edition. But typically, at the moment, they're only available at events because sometimes it can be hard to keep up with online demand, though they may come to online here pretty soon.
Are you going to have all the cool stuff like your base steppers on sale? And
yes. That's another reason to go there. We have our shop is generally at a really good strength there. Pick up what you need, whether it's lasers, base steppers, or like we mentioned, tokens.
We also have black on black dice trays with LVO specific. And then we'll also be opening up, once we get all the art, we're going to be opening up pre-orders for different sets, different merch and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that kind of stuff. And you don't have to attend in order to get those things.
Right.
Yeah. You can just buy them and then we'll ship them to you after LVO to make sure that people don't get LVO specific things for.
But just attend. Just attend.
Just attend. It makes things easier.
You
What,
can walk away with it.
Yeah. So.
You can use it at the event.
Yeah. So, Sheldon? What is important to us as LVO judges, LVO creators, and what are the struggles that you ended up starting off with LVO in the first place when you first ran it?
Yeah. I mean, you've touched on a few of them already, like things like having the layouts in advance, having knowledge, so that people can have a really good competitive environment. And I think you kind of have a responsibility when you're hosting record-breaking numbers of contestants or competitors, that you do have to take that with a bit of humility and respect, that this does have to be a competitive event, and that comes with a lot of caveats. That includes like making sure that people are playing nobody's cheating, but that also just people are playing good games, that there isn't things happening that needs, it's a large community. Like you said, it's an international event. People are coming from all over the world with different play styles, different hobby stores that they play at, where maybe somebody explained the rule wrong a long time ago, and their whole team has been playing that one rule wrong for their entire practice career, and then they get to LVO and they play it wrong and no one catches them until game 4. And you got to be the guy that steps up and as a tournament organizer and say, hey, that's not how this is played. And you're going to get people arguing like, I've been playing it this way for months, like this is how everybody plays it, like you come across some of that as a tournament organizer. And it's about standing your ground and knowing the rules first off. One thing that you do and I do that I agree with and always support is that we have the rules on site at the event.
Yes.
In an easy to digest format for everybody that's judging, so that we can reference the rule and show it to you. And ideally there will be someone, maybe not every judge is 100% aware of every rule, but all of us are willing to talk to each other and coordinate to make sure that we're on the same page with rulings. And so something comes up.
So typically you're going to have a judge, you're going to have head judges, and then you're going to have the tournament organizer, right? I'll probably know the rules the best, or maybe even some head judges could know it better than me, but maybe. And then there's going to be judges, and maybe the judges aren't as experienced, but we do take volunteers, right, for these kinds of events. And I think that's something important. Sheldon's ran multiple LVOs with one volunteer. That's difficult. Our first year was Giacomo running the stream, Saya running the store, and I had 87 people by myself.
That's a lot.
It was rough. Last year we had, I think, 3 or 4 rules judge volunteers, all with varying levels of experience. And I heard that some of them got some things wrong sometimes. And, we do our best in order to make sure that doesn't happen, and we don't take any volunteer off the street. But I think that it is important to have a really good grasp on the rules. And the other thing that we do as a staff is, if we make a mistake, we 100% own up to it. I'll publicly say like, hey, we ruled this wrong. If this affected you, I'm sorry.
One thing I like to do is, if I do make a mistake in a ruling and I find that out at some point, I do like to find that person and like personally talk to them and be like, hey, I said it was this, and I was wrong, and here's why, and I'm sorry that it affected your game. But due to the nature of judge rulings, after a judge ruling has been made, even if it turns out it was wrong, that's still supposed to like last for that game, unless you catch it like super fast. But like generally, you want to like just be as transparent as possible and own up to your mistakes, like you said.
And like everyone, like sometimes the craziest rules sometimes comes at these
Out of
events.
nowhere you're not expecting.
Because we had 1,700 games last year. 1,700 happened in 3 days.
And how many teams are there in the game? And
33 right now?
A lot. So like sometimes there's a lot of different changes and variations of rules and mechanics that sometimes like you will never see outside of maybe 3 games of Kill Team ever. And sometimes they happen at those events. So sometimes we don't know. But that's one thing that we've been trying to do is we've been working with Mike Cortez. Voradors on Command Point and other Discords. He gathers a lot of things that are talked about in Discords and puts them all into a community FAQ. And then, Games Workshop and other people look at that FAQ and they try to answer them. So we will definitely be looking at that and giving our own interpretations of the rules until it's clarified by Games Workshop.
Yes.
So if there is something, you can also look at that, which will be linked in the tournament packet when we get closer to that event date, just to be like, hey, last year the crazy one was Spider-Manning. If anyone's new to the game, I'll tell you what that is. There's like rules is written. You could like use a climbing rope to like jump over models and then drop behind them. It was crazy. It was crazy time. But yeah, we said no to that and a couple other rules. But those are the kinds of things that we have to try and maintain integrity about, and
right.
And hopefully Games Workshop can fix them before we get there. But also we have a relatively large stream that happens, and we have more exciting things to talk about on that stuff in the future. But our stream is very similar to the battle reports that we do here in the lair, the Squad Games lair.
There you go.
Right. But typically we have only cameras pointed at the table to minimize any kind of stuff for that. We mic up the players. We have commentators. We do all kinds of stuff. In fact, SoCal Open was recorded. They didn't have any internet, so we couldn't stream it.
Yes.
But if you guys want to catch that, we're going to be dropping the first video of that and dropping the other ones every so often. But almost all of the videos will be available on Patreon. Pretty much right away, if not by tomorrow. And, the end of the tournament, we still have to edit a few things, but those will come to YouTube eventually. But if you guys are looking for more content, more battle reports, we're going to be doing battle reports on our Patreon exclusive, and then some of those will come to Patreon, but some will just stay, or some of those will come to YouTube, but most will stay on Patreon. Yeah.
Hashtag proud supporter of the Squad Games Patreon since its inception.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I also want to talk a little bit about our sponsors, and if anyone knows any other sponsors that would be willing to help with Las Vegas, please reach out to us on Discord. But we have Luster's Workshop, which is us and myself. We have Frontline Gaming, Game Envy, Artis Opus, Games Workshop, Transatlantis Games, or Two Thin Coats, Geeky Tees, Paper Hero Games, Titan Hobbies, Warpfire Games, AK Interactive, Bob Smith Industries, Squad Marks, and Goblin's Hut. Now, a lot of these, and we might even get WRTL Miniatures and a few other people, but some of these guys supported us last year, and some of them are going to continue to support us this year. But I feel it's important to talk about our sponsors and the prize support that we give out, because we try to give out as much prize support as we possibly can.
And if you're a potential sponsor and you're listening to this podcast, you should know that Dakota does a lot for his sponsors in terms of their visibility, shouting them out at the event, putting them on the stream. He makes sure that you've got much better visibility than you'd probably get from a lot of other wargaming type things that you can sponsor. And so if you're thinking about sponsoring the Las Vegas Open or any Squad Games events, I definitely would recommend it as a great way to build your brand. If your brand is copacetic with Kill Team, then it's really, you got to be doing it. There's just
Yeah, we had AVTT, we had a huge sponsorship. We did a bunch of streamed stuff for them as well. And yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff that comes with Frontline Gaming event as well. Like there's the hotel. They also offer packages. If you buy your ticket early enough, you can get those packages. But I know a lot of people that try to buy their stuff sometime mid to late November, and they are out of it.
Yes.
So if you want to buy like LVO shirts and this and that with their art and other stuff to commemorate your time at LVO, make sure you get those earlier the better.
Yes.
Right? We will have an affiliate link in the show notes for Las Vegas this year. But what is your guys' favorite thing about LVO? Because I've attended and played. Sheldon, you've attended and played. Giacomo's been to LVO multiple times, but he's never played Kill Team.
Always 40K.
Always 40K at LVO. But I don't think that's true. If you had a chance to show up, I don't think you played 40K.
Yeah, I think that'd have been different. But at the time, that's what all my friends were playing. So naturally, I played that.
Yeah.
And so
we've converted them all, or most
of course, man. I love small scale games. It's easier to collect and paint.
Yeah.
I'm a slow painter already.
We're a couple other things that we're thinking about doing before we get to you guys' special things. There's just so much going on at LVO. There's so much locked up in the mind, you know. We have painting competitions.
Big.
Huge, right? We might do we have to get it okayed by Frontline Gaming first, but we might do like a specific Kill Team painting competition outside of just the normal painting competition that's in LVO. So if you want to bring another team that you're not playing, then you can bring those, much like the Forged Brush. We might do something special and outside of the box for it. Lots of cool stuff. Sheldon, what's your favorite thing about the Las Vegas Open?
I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it's really the people. I mean, that's the reason that I go every year is, seeing like Janice and Ryan and, you guys, and seeing, Ben Cash, Ben Campbell, all the, fucking
all
everybody, it's like, yeah, just the bunch of Bens.
All
and
Bens.
And Chris's. And Chris's,
Yeah,
oh my
Travis's.
gosh. Do we have multiple?
Well, I see Chris every week.
So. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right there.
But I mean, seeing Jimmy and all that, I could go on forever. There's so many, Elliot. there are so many people at the event that are have over the years become close friends, and I have to say, it kind of ties into my favorite thing is that because now that you guys have this format where it's only 3 games in a day and it ends early, you have more time to see those people, and that's really nice. Whereas before you're rushing from game to game, and then at the end you're like, oh, I gotta get back to my hotel to sleep because I have 4 more games tomorrow.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about LVO is the largeness and vastness of it. There's about 4,000 to 5,000 people that attend the event. Tons and tons of vendors. But as a tournament organizer, a lot of people come up and say hi. But unless if you put your name as your actual name in our Discord, people come up and say hi, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Thanks
unless
for
we
being
met
a
last
fan.
year, But if you have your name in the Discord, then I'm like, oh, or they tell me their name, and I'm like, oh, that's you.
That guy.
I got you. It's hard to.
You got some wild takes.
It's hard to associate certain people with their Discord names, right? But in all honesty, it's firstly, it's the competitive nature that I have, which is I want to run the largest event. I'm blessed enough that we have the ability to play and have LVO, right, and be able to host it, and then also to run an amazing event for everyone. And it's at the end specifically when we're giving stuff away is my ultimate favorite, because there's so many people, there's so many things we just give out, and it's just the capstone on the beginning and end of every year that we just get to give back to the community, right?
Yeah, if you want to see Dakota cry, just wait till the award ceremony.
It's happened 2 years in a row. It's not going to happen this year. Okay.
You can make it happen. It's fine.
I get pretty emotional because typically,
it means big.
I mean, the first year that we ran it, we had a really big flood. It ruined a lot of our terrain, and I had to buy a $10,000 laser in order to just make the terrain. And then we made the terrain. I didn't sleep for like 3 days at a time. We had multiple people from the community come over, help put things together, and we made 50 something sets of of terrain. The next year, that laser caught on fire on December 18th. And then I went out and got another laser because they said it only happens once a year to their lasers. Well, guess what? 14 days later, that other $10,000 machine also caught fire. So we didn't get as much
because of how hot your products are.
I know, right? Which was really detrimental, but also on the lead up and behind the scenes as a tournament organizer, there's so much prep that goes into it. There's terrain, there's building, there's packets, there's talking to people, there's ensuring ticket sales. There's so much that we do, and there's sleepless nights. There's just working, time away from family, for nothing. Like, other than
trying to figure out why Frontline didn't give you internet access.
Yeah,
and
chatting with the hotel guy.
Yeah,
that's a whole situation, and then we have to go get the guy in the hall. And
yeah, there's just like a lot of stress that runs up to it. And for LVO specifically, we only make money at our booth. We have a 5% ticket sale thing, but like typically we'll make like $300 from people using our affiliate link, which is $100 per person. And but that's usually spread out throughout from July or June when the tickets start to sell all the way up. So it's like $10 a month, like $18 a month, right?
Because you got to remember that Frontline Gaming gets those ticket sales.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Other than the little percentage that you guys have managed to get from the affiliate link,
which thank you,
that's all going to Frontline.
Correct.
And so the money that you guys are making from LVO, and this is a big part of the reason why I wanted you guys to run it, because I lost so much money running this event. Like it was insane. Like, tens of thousands of dollars just in the hole. And, I really want to encourage people that the reason this gets to happen is because people buy stuff, and because otherwise no one could do this event. Like it would there would just be a money hole that no one could fill. Yeah. And that's why you guys out there in the community, save your pennies, grab your piggy bank, smash it open, buy a mat, buy a token set, do whatever you got to do to help these guys out. Because, plan to buy something, because it's how this gets to keep happening, how we get to have cool Las Vegas Open tournaments and SoCal Open and all this stuff.
And even if you can't afford anything, you just want to come to the tournament, that's 100% fine. Because again, going to my competitive nature is that we want to be the world's largest.
Huge. Right?
And I would rather you be there and help experience what we can bring to the community and what the community can give to such a large event, right? With a lot of high standards, right? I think it's important for it's important that the community participates, because without the community, without anyone going, the event would eventually die. And then I think it'd be important. It would be really detrimental to lose such a large event, right? So the community always comes first. Support is obviously fantastic. Thank you, Sheldon. But there are other ways that we can raise funds and stuff like that too, and that happens throughout the year. So it's not wholly important that you help support us the day of, though it is appreciated. But that's besides the point. The main reason why we're talking about this in the podcast today is because this is a huge part of our lives. And if you've made it this far into the video, I'm sure that Kill Team means a lot to you.
Yes.
Right? And maybe
either that or you just love Dakota's voice.
Yeah, maybe. But I do think that's rather important to realize that, Kill Team must mean a lot to you as much as it means to us, right? And we're doing anything and everything to make sure that this is the best event that you will ever attend.
Yes.
Outside of AVTT. AVTT's good for different reasons.
That's for us. And for 3 of your best friends. 2 of your best friends.
Yeah, I think team events are absolutely amazing. But solo event, solo friends. This is by far the best competitive event, in my opinion.
I mean, if you're listening this
agree.
far into this podcast and you don't have a ticket, like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Get your friends. Tell them, if you haven't got it yet, get one.
Vegas trip, you get to play some Kill Team, you get to do stuff afterwards. That's one of my favorite things, is that we are generally done early. Yeah, we still have logistical things and other things to fix, but we still get to go home in a decent time.
True.
Yeah, I don't usually go out. Yeah, I don't usually go out
don't.
super long. I might be like an hour just to get food, and then I'm going back to the room now. I got to go to sleep.
Yeah.
We're up at 6 a.m. tomorrow,
Yeah.
so
So for the tournament organizers, when we go there, we have a much different schedule than everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
We show up at 7 a.m. every day to go and touch every mat, make sure that all the terrain is in its proper location, and then we have to judge hobby track, do all that kind of stuff, and then
I gotta make the stream work, make sure
you
the
got to make
tables
the
are
stream
clean.
work, tables,
Yeah,
clean up, all that kind of stuff, and then afterwards we got to make sure everyone leaves, our stuff is protected, and then we go back, and then we get to eat, which is typically an hour, 2 hours after everyone's done. So we'll leave at 6 or 7, come back again, and then when we have to clean up, my goodness.
Oh, that is.
And then you've got to find
gotta-
me in whatever hellhole I've found myself in and
we're
pull
getting
me.
Sheldon
Like,
out.
Sheldon, we need to get you back to the tournament.
But no, you're right. Yeah, once everything is done, just like you get a moment to breathe and go, it's over. It went well. The stream was good. Like everyone got their prizes. Now we have to clean this up.
Yes.
And that is a different world.
You know what's super cool? And this is something that you guys didn't advertise, but I helped out clean last year, and I got a really cool T-shirt for doing it.
He
did.
did.
And
In fact, we had so many T-shirts left over because no one stayed to help and clean up, and we had this special little prize for everyone.
I got a T-shirt that nobody else got because I was the only person cool enough to stay and help.
In fact, you were the only person to stay.
Understandably,
what I'm saying.
a few people did have to leave because they had plane rides to get back to their
stuff
state.
Like that, yeah. Everyone helps. Everyone helps. No one helps.
Book your flight later so that you can help clean, please.
Or join the ITC ceremony. That happens around the same time.
Right, which makes sense, and actually it kind of works out for us because then we get the floor and just clean up. So.
I think we're done by 5:30, 5:45 on Sunday, and I think we try to push it a little faster on Sunday. We do a little less breaks,
right,
so that everyone can get to their planes faster. Right. But that's after the award ceremony, all that kind of stuff. We say our goodbyes, which takes 30 to 40 minutes, and then we're cleaning from 6:30 to 9:30. Then we drive 5 hours home. I drop G off because he fell asleep
every time
at 10 or 11.
Easy.
So I'm driving home. I'm talking to Sheldon on the phone. So we both don't die. We're driving the trailer because that's another thing that people don't realize is that we had to purchase a trailer.
Yep.
Because LVO's
got so big.
Large.
Yeah.
Trailers are not cheap.
No.
But
it was a good investment.
It was. We do a lot of storage in there now.
Yes.
But we got to drive the trailer all the way here, and then we have to unload a bunch of stuff like camera equipment, computer, all that good stuff.
Yep.
So.
Everything's coming right back out, and then we got to be Tuesday, or whatever our stream schedule is. We try to keep consistent. Then we're right back at it. It never ends.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Speaking of which, tonight I'll be playing against James Robinson's Legionary as Deathcore, because I'm going to start practicing for.
When you say tonight, you mean when people are listening to this?
Correct.
Yeah.
Or
on Tuesday.
like actually tonight?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's a little late right now.
This is pre-recorded. That's how podcasts work.
I was just making sure.
Yeah, so I'll be playing against James Robinson, who got third at SoCal Open with Legionaries. It's a match that I'm very worried about. I'm playing, veteran guard.
You're such a hero. They're not great. They're not
so
great.
Good. They're so good, Giacomo. They're so good.
Man,
I'm not going to win a single game at Worlds.
Don't lie to yourself. Well, you might win one.
No.
Someone might bring Vetguard.
Huh?
Someone else might bring Vetguard.
You might be right.
Are you committed to bringing Vetguard to Worlds?
Yeah.
What a hero.
So one thing is like, I believe in competitive integrity a lot, right? I got the rules a little early because we are a community, we're content creators. So we got the rules a tad bit early. And We had access, even though we didn't look at a lot of the teams, we had access to a lot of the teams. It would feel disingenuous of me to bring anything outside of the team that I've been playing for 2 or 3 years, right? Even though the team got mega destroyed, I don't think
I
it'd
don't know
be.
if I'd say it would be disingenuous because I mean, Worlds is like maybe for Nova, but like if you but like the but at this point everybody knows about the teams, and I think not not to blow up everyone's spot, but I'm sure a lot of people at Worlds got the teams early.
You might be right. You might be.
They might be.
But it is my ethics that isn't going to allow me to take a different team that I could have seen as having a competitive edge on.
Right.
Right. For me, morally, right, it is very important to me to maintain that ethics. So like I'm going to play the team that I've always played. If they were good, I would still take them. But they're not good. I'm still going to take them.
There you go.
I have a great display board for them. I'll play more for fun and for hobby, and to make sure everyone that plays against me is playing the rules correctly.
Yes.
Because that is another important thing at Worlds, is to make sure that the other players don't are playing the rules correctly.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. No mistakes here.
Yeah. We are playing at the world's most competitive event. So like,
we're hoping that they're going to know their stuff too, and I'm sure the judges there are knowledgeable too, so they'll be doing their thing, and it'll be good.
Giacomo did not get a golden ticket, but I bought him a plane ticket.
So we're heading out,
and he's coming to Worlds. So
just make sure you bring your since it's a GW event, make sure you bring your barbed wire.
Oh
not wrong.
Put it right in front of all those ITD doors.
Oh yeah. So I believe for Worlds we're hoping that there's an FAQ of frequently asked questions that is answered by Games Workshop, and they can fix a few things like barbed wire. Otherwise, anyone who's bringing any 6-inch move team or 7-inch or 5-inch move team, especially 5-inch, aren't going to have a good time.
Yeah.
The dwarves literally cannot climb over barbed wire currently.
It is rough for them.
Literally, right now, it's impossible.
I think all the problems with barbed wire and the top Volcus terrain, like Vantage and all that stuff, everything would be fixed if you could just still combine a move and a dash. That's the only thing that needs to be changed.
Yeah, I think that a move and a dash would really help the edition.
Yeah, it would help.
It would help a lot.
And changing barbed wire.
I mean, that's how it used to be.
Yeah, but still, barbed wire should be...
It's still pretty busted regardless.
There's a few things in the game that we dislike, and we typically don't play with them at our events that way. But if you guys want to see some of that stuff, you can turn into our last hot takes video, which is the frequently asked questions, where we dive into a bunch of rules and questions from the community, and we try to answer them to the best of our ability, and give reasons.
I watched
to why.
4 hours of that.
I'm sure.
Wow. We sat down.
That means you watched both
episodes.
Full
parts 1 and 2.
I just watched Dakota get slowly more and more aggravated by that.
Yeah, I'm pretty. So we sat there for 4 hours talking more and more and more, and I was like, "This one's easy, guys. Cool. Let's move on." They're like, "Well, actually,
there's this one
thing." I'm like,
"Guess we're here." And that would take like an extra 10 minutes just to figure it out.
It was awful.
Oh,
it was awful, but it was useful.
It was useful. Important. It's important to players who want to be better at the game.
Yeah. But I think LVO is like the capstone and the beginning and the end. The end all and be all. And typically, there's always a kill team reveal, right?
Yeah.
There has been 2018 or was it 2019 LVO? The first one was where they previewed Kill Team Arena.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So they've been doing it, and then I think the Corsairs got revealed at one. Trying to think what else there.
We got
Pariah Nexus, I think,
Claw and Friends.
Yeah, there's been a reveal for Kill Team at every LVO.
And LVO isn't just for the super ultra competitive people, right? Relatively quickly, in a 9-round Swiss event, you will place and start playing against people of your comparative skill really quickly. So since things don't really,
Or at least people who are just as unlucky as you.
yeah, that too. Maybe your dice, maybe you blame the dice. But like by the middle of day 2, after about 4 rounds, you should relatively be meeting people of the same skill level. Maybe even after 2 games, you should be meeting people around the same skill level as yourself, right? A lot of those really competitive higher level players will start to pull away really quickly, right? And then day 2, you're kind of like still mix matching, you know? And then by the end of the event, you're literally only playing people the exact same skill level because it is a purely Swiss event, right? You're going to be playing against people who have also won 3 games and lost 3 games, who have won 5 games and lost 2 games, you know,
or lost 8 games,
or lost 8 games in a row.
Day 3,
yeah, and you know, and that's
and
okay
you get to
too.
get drunk and make a joke about how your Elocidian Star Strider's dog is the best boy, and
Sounds like you might have experience there, Sheldon.
They're having fun times.
yeah, well, you know, don't do what I did. Don't go up against Orion round 1.
Yeah, yeah.
Just tank.
And also, I'm pretty sure, Sheldon, staying up till like 5 or 6 in the morning every day
Is a great idea. Yeah, I agree.
didn't help you. Didn't help you. But hey, you're in Vegas.
You're in Vegas having a good time.
Whatever.
I go to Vegas one time a year, and I get to enjoy it.
Debauchery.
Yeah. So
I'm not there to sleep like a baby.
there you go.
You can do that at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, LVO is a great time because you get to meet a lot of brand new people. I mean, that's where I met the majority of the player base, you know, before I was even a TO, you know, like I get to meet a lot of top players because I have to have a lot of contact with them in the middle of games, at the end of games and stuff. But before that, you know, I would just meet tons and tons of people at LVO, even if I didn't know who these people were, right? Like I met Matthew Howell at Kill Team 2022 when Sheldon played it, and I didn't remember him, you know? And then he was like, and then he had to reintroduce himself. I was like, oh yeah, I know you, Matt. And then there's like, but that happens to like everyone, you know? Like
It's gonna happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you meet friends, you get to see them the next year, high fives, hugs, all that good stuff. But is there anything that you guys want to round this out with? Any other shout outs?
Mr. Sheldon?
You know, Squad Games Patreon's pretty sweet. Definitely check that out. If you're in the Bay Area, come to one of our Bats tournaments. We just hosted a Halloween tournament. We're going to be hosting another container excitement kill team tournament at Game Castle in December that I'm going to be basing all of the terrain layouts on the map from Call of Duty Shipment.
Nice. You have tons and tons of containers. You
I
can
have
definitely
so
do that.
many containers, you guys. I could host like 100-person container only event.
Yep.
And it would be like
Containers for days, finally.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, come to LVO if you're thinking that you're like, oh, I don't know. You do know because you're listening this far into an LVO specific podcast. Let that be your guiding light. You obviously want to come to LVO, otherwise you wouldn't be hearing us talk for however long this is.
The Emperor has willed it. Gork and Mork has willed it. The Xenos Hive Mind has told you to go. Eldred has told you to go. You know, your commissar is
www.lasvegasopen.net.
You know, the Ethereal has told you to go. You know, like I don't know how far I have to go into this. You know, I'm just saying. You know.
Whatever deity has told you to go.
It's Segarak's jest that you come.
Yeah, exactly. Karmara is telling you to go and raid LVO. You know, I don't know.
There you go.
We could just keep going. We can keep going.
The Silent King has willed it.
In fact, you were born there, and so you just pop up out of the graves. You know, like Terminators. I don't know.
Incredible.
How about you, G?
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube if you're not already watching this on YouTube. We have our podcast there. We have Hobby Highlander there. We have battle reports there. So you can catch all that stuff if you want more Kill Team content and just content we make in general. And you can join the conversation in the comments or on our Discord channel, which is also in the description. If you're listening to this wherever or however, you can join us there. Tell us what you think about the episodes. Tell us what you think about Kill Team. Talk to us there. You can find us on Instagram. We're at squad_games_entertainment. Keep you up to date with pictures and stuff from events and things that we do. And you can find me on Instagram at wargaming_studios, where I'm very close to finishing Nemesis Claw. I got the heads left. I got the heads left. That's it.
Almost ready.
Three heads.
Almost ready for streaming.
Almost ready for stream. 3 heads. That's it.
Get
Smash that like button.
You saw the lightning bolts. I did the lightning bolts. So yeah, I'm there. Yeah, there you go. We're getting there. How about you?
I would like to shout out our battle reports, our Twitch channel. If you guys are looking for more Kill Team content or hobby content, hopefully we should have more Hobby Highlanders done here real soon as well. And I just want to thank the community that makes this thing happen, and who has supported us thus far in the Kill Team genre, right? Without people attending events or anyone listening or viewing these things, Kill Team would be dead.
Yes.
So it's because of you guys that any of this is possible. So shout out to the community.
Shout out to the community. Shout out to the patron.
And if you're still watching, comment below. Giacomo gives good Nemesis Claw head.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Fair.
I like that one.
That's
I like
fair.
that one.
That's fair.
So yeah, get your LVO tickets, and hopefully we'll get to see you there.
Yeah. Until next time, everyone.
See ya.